Hi everyone, welcome back to Chess with Mr. A, guys. And today we are starting an introduction to the most common and basic attacking moves in chess, which is very important to attack in chess. That's one of the main ideas. We're also going to be talking about defending in our future classes. But today I'm going to introduce you to the most common, most basic, but yet very, very effective attacking moves that happen on all levels of chess. So we're going to cover several concepts, and I would like to start with this first position, in which if you were to play white, I would like to give you a little bit of time, 3 to 5 seconds, if you can spot any attacking move, and then we're going to take it up. Okay, so some of the attacking moves in a position like this for white could be a capture. So that's very, very common in chess, and you don't always capture for material. You can sometimes capture for the purposes of strategical advantage. For example, you capture this pawn and all of a sudden the line opens up, right? Or you capture and just to see if opponent captures back, if he knows how to capture back, and if he does capture back, then you capture again. And this time we captured the knight to a little bit weaken the black's king's defense, which we are going to be talking about later as well. So remember, a capture is one of the attacking moves in chess, of course, and you have to have a reason to capture something, and it's not always the material. Now another move that I hope everybody saw is we can always see where our opponent's king is and give him a check. So checks are also very, very effective because they will stress your opponent, and that's where he can make a mistake, right? So please always ask yourself if there is a check. And finally, we have one of Mr. A's favorite move, a move that's called a threat. Now, in this example, we are attacking our opponent's queen, which is always a very good idea because your opponent's queen is just the strongest piece. But even attacking random pieces is also quite good. So when you're attacking a piece, we call it a threat, which your opponent has to react to and he can't ignore, because if he does ignore, then he's going to get in trouble. So this always asks your opponent, hey, do you know what's going on? Are you focused? What are you going to do? So this is just a starting point of attacking chess. Capture, threat, and check are very common moves, and we are going to move on. And in our next position, so once again, I would like to give everybody maybe 5 to 10 seconds. And how could we create a capture or a threat or a check in a position like this? And I hope you guys got this. So this wasn't too difficult. So first thing we do is we can see do we have any captures on the board? And we absolutely do. We can capture that knight. And again, even if our opponent captures back and we don't win any material, there could be other reasons to capture. So about that we will talk a little bit later. Now we are going to ask ourselves where is our opponent's king, and we can always give him a check. So that's something that could be uncomfortable. And finally we can create a threat. So once again, just like in a previous example, Mr. attacks our opponent's queen and says, well, where are you going to go? You have to be careful because queen is a very valuable piece. Now it's under attack, and you can't capture my rook. So the game could go something like this. Black could offer a queen trade, but now white is going to say, no, I don't want to trade queens, and I'm continuing my attack on the king. So that's something we are going to be talking again a little bit further. Please have patience, guys. So once again, capture, threat, and check. Very common 3 moves that are used on all kind of levels, to be honest with you. And now we are moving on actually to a more exciting concept, moves that can already give you a bigger advantage, even if your opponent is a strong player. So capture, threat, and check are good moves, but check these guys out. Now we've talked about in previous lessons that the queen is your strongest piece, but guess what? Queen loves to checkmate the king. Now, how does it checkmate? It usually checkmates with the help of another piece. Now, ever since I saw that the queen and bishop can line up on the same diagonal, as you can see, both of them are lining up on the same diagonal with the one condition only, that they have to point at the king, not line up at the same diagonal. For example, like this, we can line them up like this, and now they're also lined up on the same diagonal, but they are pointing kind of into an empty air. So once again, when you line up your queen and bishop together on the same diagonal pointing at the king, there's a very, very powerful concept called a battery, and that can really help you to checkmate, guys. No exaggerations. With this idea, a lot of games can be won alone just with the battery. But again, you have to remember certain things. It's the queen and bishop. Queen has to be in front of the bishop. Please notice that. If the queen was behind the bishop, yeah, they're lining up against the king. But again, king is not going to be scared of that. So queen has to be in front of the bishop for a battery. And the bishop is the queen's best friend, which helps her, which absolutely helps her to checkmate the king. Because as you can see, this is where, in an example like this is where the bishop is protecting the queen. So many, many games can be won with the battery. Please make sure to remember this. We will talk about this later again. So now we are going to move on to the next concept. And the next concept is also very, very exciting. Now, the next concept is, how does the knight attack in chess? So the knight has a very special attacking ability in chess that everybody on a higher level knows and everybody on a higher level gets scared of. And basically this is attacking two or more pieces at the same time. Now the knight is very good at this. Check this out, guys. If the knight goes here, it's going to be very difficult for black to defend rook and the queen at the same time in one move. Queen moves away, we capture the rook. Rook moves away, we capture the queen. Very, very powerful. But you know what's the best multi-attack? Is when the knight attacks queen and king. This is a complete disaster for black. This is usually what helps to win the game on the spot. When we see a move like that on a higher level, usually the defending side resigns. Now, what would we call this? It's not called a capture, threat, or check, or a battery. This is called a fork. So once again, when you attack two or more pieces at the same time, preferably with the knight, it's called a fork. A very, very powerful attacking concept because your opponent will not be able to defend both pieces at the same time in one move. That's the power of the fork. Go ahead and defend two pieces in one move. Nobody can do that, not even current world chess champion. It's very difficult to do that. Okay, guys? So we are going to move on here. And now, before we talk about other positions, I would like to introduce you to one more concept. And this concept owned by the bishop. The bishop is the owner of this concept. So what does the bishop has? Which attacking ability does the bishop have? Is it a battery? Is it a fork? Is it a capture, check, threat? No. The bishop is very good in chess at arresting other pieces and not letting them move. For example, in here, the black knight cannot move because the bishop is going to be giving check to the king. This rook can move, but it's very, very not advisable, because if as soon as the rook moves, for example, to capture the pawn, and the rook says, well, can I go and capture that pawn? Well, another bishop is waiting for black rook to move so that he can capture that queen. So it seems like in a position like this, knight and the rook are both paralyzed and can't move for a reason. Now, when the bishop holds another piece from moving, physically arresting you and not saying, you can't move because I'm holding you and something bad is going to happen if you move. Now we have a technical name for it, and this is also an attacking concept called a pin. Very, very, very powerful. Happens as early as third move in the game sometime, and they could give you a lot of advantage, especially on a lower level when people don't have enough patience. They for sure will move the piece that they're not supposed to move, and that's how you will get an advantage. But you have to know how to create a pin. So it's done by the bishop. Other pieces can also do it, but the bishop is best at it. And the idea is to hold the piece from moving through an X-ray attack, because if that piece moves, the bishop is pointing further at another piece that is behind. So now that we've talked about this basic attacking ideas, I would like to come to a more complicated puzzles which are done from a real game. So here is our first position, and I would like you to tell me what would be the idea of a move like this other than attacking the knight, attacking the bishop. So if we're just attacking a piece, please remember that's just called a threat. The best way is to attack our opponent queen, but also if you can just attack random pieces once in a while, that's also put your opponent in check and says, well, let's check how focused you are and how careful you are as a chess player. But in fact, this move is much stronger than just attacking the bishop. Remember, the attacking ability of a knight, the danger, the power from the knight comes from a very powerful move called when you attack more than one piece at the same time. And here we go, a very powerful fork, after which black is in trouble. There's no way out. At this point, black cannot say, could Mr. A take over this game, or could a world champion take over this game? This is simply trouble, and that's the power of a knight. He's good at forking pieces, which is attacking more than one piece at the same time, and good luck defending all of them in one move. Impossible. So that was a very nice fork. Can you spot a battery in a position like this? So remember, a battery is when the queen and bishop are lining up together against the king. They want to checkmate. So I'm going to give you 5 seconds to think about it, and I hope that you guys are going to get this. It's not too difficult. And the correct answer is, tap yourself on the shoulder, make sure to text Mr. A asking for a prize. Here we go. Now, why this is such a powerful move is because we are creating a direct checkmate idea. A direct checkmate idea because the queen and bishop are lined up perfectly against the king. But more than that, it's also a multi-purpose attack because I'm also attacking the knight. So once again, it's not an easy situation for black. He has to be very, very careful not to lose this game right the next move. And that is the power of the battery. Batteries are always powerful. Let's now see if you can spot a move with the knight that could help us to create a fork. Maybe not just in one move, but maybe you can see how this knight could later on fork, let's say, queen and king, because that's one of the best forks in the world. And in fact, as I told you before, if you get a royal fork, chances are you will win this game because it's very frustrating for your opponent. So once again, how can the knight fork in this position, queen and king? Maybe we cannot do it in one move, but I hope you guys saw this absolutely beautiful move. Did you see it? Right here, we're attacking the bishop. Now the bishop is going to move away, or even let's say the bishop is going to be a little bit happy to capture that rook, but black did not expect that that knight is exactly what he's about. Remember, the power of the knight is the royal fork, and that's what the knight loves doing in chess. In the beginning of the game, king, everybody gave a job to do, and when he talked to the knight, he said, knight, I want you to attack more than one piece at the same time. You're good at that, but if you can attack the queen and king, I'll give you a prize. And so every single game, you should remind yourself, well, if I'm moving my knight, is there a possibility to create a fork, attacking more than one piece at the same time, or a royal fork, which would even be better? Okay, guys? That was a beautiful concept. And once again, I would like you to see if you can do, let's say, a battery here. We can do a fork with our knight attacking more than one piece at the same time. Here it is. A very good move, by the way. A very, very good move, by the way. Pawn cannot capture the knight because black will lose his queen. Now, but I want you to see if you can spot a battery here, because this battery is so much more powerful than a fork. Black immediately gets in trouble, and I don't want to give you that much time because it's not that difficult, guys. I hope everybody saw this. And the correct answer is right here. Queen and bishop on the same diagonal pointing at the king. Once again, black is in a lot of trouble. Of course, he can block, which is already a difficult move, but then black just loses a free piece of capture that he can't capture you back, and it's a check. So right there is the power of a battery. It completely paralyzes black. He can't really do anything other than asking himself, am I going to get checkmated next move? Am I going to get checkmated next move? Batteries are powerful, guys. Make sure that the queen and bishop are lined up on the same diagonal against the king. You can win a lot of games. And this is what we call a battery. And one more principle that we haven't talked about that also wins a lot of games is very simple. It's not a pin. It's not a fork. It's not a battery. It's not a capture. It's very, very simple. It's when you know that one of the most important attacking moves in chess is that your queen has to go to the king. Just like this, with one simple move. Now, black in this position thought that his rook was under attack, and this is why white's last move was so powerful, multi-purpose attack. But when black moved the rook away, let's say to a safe square, that's when black really realized that he got in trouble. And trust me, guys, the player who was playing white was so happy to do this, and he was getting so excited. Now, this is a very simple concept of bringing your queen to your opponent king. Okay? So always remember to get as close as possible to your opponent's king. Very powerful. And we have not talked about the bishop, so I don't want him to be jealous at the end of the lesson and say, well, Mr. Ray, you gave everybody a credit, but pin is also a very, very powerful move when the bishop arrests another piece and not let him move. So in this example, we are going to ask if the bishop has something for us. Now, remember that the pin is when you arrest a piece and don't let him move. And if you can tell me what could be the idea of a move like this other than attacking the knight, which is also a very good move, multi-purpose attack, but the knight will just move away, so it's not a big deal. Now, 5 seconds, guys. How can we make a pin a devastating pin? This was actually my game, after which my opponent resigned in tears, and I had to even give the kid a prize because he was so upset to lose this game, and I was just telling him, please don't be upset. You always learn from losing a game. Maybe you can do to somebody else what I did to you. And what did I do to him? Well, I pinned him just like this, and I hope you guys saw this. And now the problem is that no matter what, there's no way to block. There's no way to get out of this. I wish black could have got out of it. But it's a pin that is so powerful that the bishop is guaranteed to win the black's queen, and he can't move away because the king will be in check. So once again, the reason this is called a pin is because it's an ability to hold a piece from moving. And when you hold a piece from moving, you obviously control that piece. So in an example like this, white will just simply capture the queen. Okay, guys? So that's it. Those were the most powerful concepts that I wanted to talk to you about, but this is just an introduction to our basic attacking ideas in chess, and I hope that you will definitely use them. And good luck on your quiz. Let me know if you can use these ideas, and I'll hope to see you in more advanced attacking lessons very, very soon. This was Chess with Mr. Ray, common attacking ideas of chess. I'll see you soon.